Video is to demonstrate the cleaning and safety procedures for cooking in Mrs. Martin's classroom. Everyone needs to open their page to this and their notebook right here. It has different sections in the chart. Before the lab, hands, hair, and apron, doing dishes, sweeping counters, getting ingredients, and lab sheet or recipe. So I'm going to talk about all of these things today. Alright, before you start the lab, the first thing that you need to do is if you have long hair, you need to tie it back. If you have hair that hangs in your face like this, you want to clip it back using bobby pins or something so that it's not in the way. Okay, so if you have long hair, it needs to be tied back. If you forget a scrunchie on the day of the lab, over here in this top drawer, I have rubber bands that you can use that I keep in here. So if you forget a scrunchie on the day of the lab, you can use a rubber band to tie your hair back in my class. You have to have your hair tied back if it is long hair, and if it is short hair that goes in your face, you need to pin it back like this, okay? The next thing you need to do is you need to get an apron. If you go back here into the apron closet, you can see right here that there's all these aprons, and you just need to pick one of these in order to be able to use it. So to get your apron on, the first thing you do is you're going to put it over your head. Now notice most of the aprons are adjustable, so if I'm taller or shorter, I can pull it down to be able to adjust it. So if I wanted it longer or if I wanted it shorter, I just can pull on this to make it to where I want it to be. And then you're going to take the tie and you're going to bring it around behind your back, and you can either tie it in a bow or you could bring it to the front and tie it in a bow here. You have to tie it in a bow. Do not tie it in knots, because if you tie it in knots, then it'll get stuck and you won't be able to get it off. So you want to tie it in a bow like that. If you can't do that, have a friend help you or bring it around the front and tie it in a bow up here, okay? So what you need to write down for the hands, hair, and apron section . You need to write down 1, tie long hair back. You'll also need to write down tie apron in bow. And then the next one we're going to go over is the hand washing. Just so you know, at the end of the class, or at the end of the class period, when you're done with your apron, if your apron still looks clean, you're going to hang it back up. Okay, if your apron has stains or it's dirty, you're going to put it in the laundry basket, and the laundry basket sits here in the center of the room. Okay, now for hand washing, when it's time to wash your hands, you're going to proceed to the sink in your unit. You want to take off any hand jewelry. If you have like rings, bracelets, watches, anything like that, you want to take it off before washing your hands. Okay, I usually keep mine in my pocket or whatever you need in your backpack, whatever works. Sometimes I put it in here, just don't forget and leave it in there. You're going to turn the water on. You want the water on so that it's hot. Okay, you're going to get your hands wet. Okay, make sure it's hot or warm water. You don't want to burn yourself. You're going to put soap in your hands. You can use the dish soap. It's safe. You're going to scrub for 30 seconds. Fronts, backs, wrists, in between the fingers, and your nail beds like this. That is how you need to wash your hands. You need to scrub for 30 seconds to make sure that you kill as many germs as are necessary. And then you're going to go ahead and rinse your hands here. And you're going to dry with a paper towel. Do not use a rag. You want to dry with a paper towel. Can anyone tell me why we use a paper towel instead of a rag? Does anyone know? Yeah, Malcolm?
Because rags are always dirty.
Because rags can be dirty and you can pass around bacteria. If we use the paper towel, we just dry thoroughly once and then we throw the paper towel away, so it's more sanitary, okay? So we're gonna take this over to the trash can, which I keep the trash cans over here, and we'll just throw that right in the trash. So we're gonna go ahead and write down our steps for hand washing. Okay, use warm water and soap. You're going to scrub for 30 seconds, and then you're going to dry with a paper towel. Now when we're doing the scrub, we don't want to forget to do fronts, back, in between fingers. So fronts, backs, in between fingers, the nail beds, and the wrists. So that's what you're going to write for that section, okay? So now we're going to go ahead and jump to the next box on our worksheet, and that says doing the dishes, okay? So we're going to go ahead next, and we're going to do doing the dishes. All right, so when we do the dishes, we're going to go to our sink. We're going to, right here, we're gonna take our stopper like this. We wanna make sure we put it in like this. This is upside down. If you put it in upside down, it's really annoying to get out. So you wanna put it in this way, or if you have a white stopper, there's no upside down. It's obvious which way it goes. So you're gonna put it in the sink. That's your regular sink. So if you look over here, this is the garbage disposal. You want to put it in your regular sink over here, okay? Then we're going to go and we're going to put soap, and we're just going to put just a few drops. We don't need a ton of soap in there. And we're going to fill that up with hot soapy water over here. So we're going to keep letting that fill up. While that's filling up, we're going to get 3 racks. We need 3 racks. So all the drawers and cupboards are labeled. You're gonna look for the one that's labeled rags. You're gonna pull out 3 of them, okay? So you might need to use like maybe another one for drying, but you really only need like 3 rags, okay? One is for washing the dishes, one is for drying the dishes, and one is for wiping the counters, okay? So 3 will work. Sometimes you might need up to 5 though, just so that you're aware, okay? So, and you want to fill this all the way till it gets to the top. For the sake of this demo, I'm going to turn it off now, but you want to fill it till it's practically full of water. Does anyone know the purpose of the filling up the sink with hot soapy water? Why do we do that? Yeah, Bennett.
To kill the bacteria.
To kill the bacteria for what? For when we're doing what? When we're washing the dishes. So we're gonna put the dishes in there, they're gonna soak, okay? Now we wanna get our rags ready at the beginning of the lab. Okay, the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna get the rag wet. So you wanna get your rag wet like this. You're gonna just kind of get it damp. And then you're gonna put soap right in the center. I'm almost out of soap. Need to buy more soap. Okay, and you're gonna suds it up like this. So doing this is gonna help suds the rag so that it's nice and sudsy like that. And this is the rag you're gonna use for washing dishes, okay? Then you're gonna get your other rag. This one is gonna be for cleaning of the counters, and you're gonna get this one ready too. So you're gonna wet it, hot soapy water, or well, hot water first. And then you're gonna add the soap into this one as well. And you're gonna suds this one too. Okay, and then you're going to put it on the counter or near the counter for when it's time. We're gonna save this one to be dry for when it's time to dry the dishes. When you're washing the dishes, let's say that I just cooked and I have some dishes ready to go, we're gonna put them in the sink like this. There's one dish that we never put in the sink with the hot soapy water. Does anyone know what it is? Rio.
Knives?
The knife, the sharp knife. The sharp knife, if we had a sharp knife that was dirty, that needed to be washed, we would set it on the side of the counter like this and not put it in the hot soapy water. How come we don't put it in the hot soapy water? Yeah.
get cut, like you might grab the wrong one, it's like on the wrong blade, the wrong side of the blade, and so you get cut. And
That's right. So if we reach in there, we can't see because there's bubbles and dirt and food particles, whatever. We might accidentally grab the blade and cut ourselves. And so it's important that we keep it on the side of the sink and wash it separately for safety purposes. Now when it's time to wash the dishes, you're going to, it should be soaking in the hot soapy water. Then you're going to take your rag, you're going to scrub the dish thoroughly with your rag, making sure that it's all the way clean, okay? And if it's not coming off, it might need to soak a little bit longer. Maybe you need to run it under some different hot water. Okay, when you're done washing it, you're going to bring it over to the other side. You're going to rinse it with the hot water. And then when you're all done rinsing it and it feels clean, you don't feel any grease, you're going to stick it in the dish drying rack. Then another person in your group who's in charge of drying is going to dry the dish out thoroughly, okay, with the drying rag, all right? And then you're gonna look at the labels, and this is a bowl, just a regular bowl. So I'm gonna put it in the cupboard that says bowls, okay? So you'll just look on the labels to see where stuff goes. If you're not sure or you can't find out where it's supposed to go, you wanna ask Mrs. Martin and just say, hey, I'm not sure where this is supposed to go. Okay, so now I'm gonna go ahead and put it in the bowls, and then it's put away, okay? So that's what happens when you're doing the dishes, is you're gonna follow that procedure. Hot soapy water, rinse with hot water, let it dry, use the drying rag to dry it, and put it away where it's supposed to go. Okay, so for doing dishes, we're gonna write a couple things down here. We're going to fill sink with hot soapy water. We're going to rinse. We're going to put in drying rack. And then another person is going to dry and put it away. Okay? And then the last thing, which I forgot to demonstrate over there, is when you're all done, you're going to drain the sink and you're going to dry the sink out. Okay, so I'm going to demonstrate that really quick. So when you're all done, you're all done cleaning, everything's done in your whole unit, you're going to drain your sink. We're going to pretend those are washed there. Okay, get everything rinsed out thoroughly here. And you're gonna get paper towels. You can also use a dry rag for this too if there's not enough paper towels. And you're just gonna go ahead and dry the sink out all around the sink here, in the back area, back over here. And you wanna just dry everything out so that it's nice and clean. Oops, dropped that rag. Just make sure everything's nice and dry. Then you would go ahead and throw away that paper towel in the trash can. And if you were all done, you would put all your rags in the laundry basket. But that's only if you're all done. Don't put them in there until you're all done. All right, so that is how you do the dishes. The next thing we're gonna talk about is the counters. Okay, you just prepare the rag like I showed you before with the soap and the warm water, and then you're gonna scrub. This is not scrubbing, okay? This is like casual wiping and it doesn't get clean. If you're gonna scrub, you gotta really put your back into it and scrub back and forth like this using elbow grease.